There we go, we're now at my workstation and we're gonna log into the server, which has the IP 192.168.1.109. You're gonna want to do this as a first thing before you even start the server. Log into your router interface and put a static IP on your server, or you can put a reservation, the same thing, it's called different things, just so that your server stays on the same IP all of the time. If it's controlled by the DHCP server, it might, switch whenever it feels like it. So put a static IP as the first thing, and that should be it. Now we should log into the server. To log into the server, use the credentials you used when you created the server, when you installed the OS onto the machine. We didn't do that, or we didn't do that in the video, but there's guides on that, so it's not a problem. Let's do this. I think this might be it. Yep. And here we're greeted with the basic hardware information. You have the CPU power right here. You can see the E3 1220 here at 3.1 gigahertz. 4 threads. It's running at 29 degrees. That's okay. You got the 12 gigs of RAM. The 2 network interfaces. Obviously, only one is used. And you got the server information right here. Now, something I want to do before I do anything else is go into network and then global configuration. What we're going to do here is change the name of the server so that we always know what name it is. Right now it's called TrueNAS. We're going to change that. And this is very, very important, because most people they use really cool and preposterous names. They use, like, it's called Prometheus, or it's called Zeus, that kind of stuff. I'm gonna call my server Mooncake, because why the hell not? Hostname Mooncake, save. That's all I need to do. The second thing you're going to want to do is change the network settings, and this corresponds to the IP settings you did in your router. You want to log into the server, put the static IP onto the network card itself as well. So we go into the network tab and network summary. Oh, sorry, we go into interfaces, of course. This shows you the interfaces you have available to you from your machine. Mine has 2, but obviously one is used, and it is this one. You can see it has been assigned this IP address. That's the static IP, which I set in my edge router. So what we're going to do is just verify that the server always knows it uses the same IP. So go to this arrow. You can see everything here. You put edit. You unbox or uncheck the DHCP version option. You don't want to use that. Put in your IP 192.168.1.109. This, of course, will vary depending on what subnet you use. You need to put your submask. Mine is 24, so I'm gonna keep that. And you click add. You do not click add. You can delete it again to see if you're in the game. There, click apply. There we go. We can now see that this has been applied. Well, it's still in here, so I guess test changes is what we want to do. Yeah, we want to test it. Save. Guess that worked. Let's try. Keep in mind, I actually never used TrueNAS. I only used FreeNAS, so difference should be the same, but yeah. Look, we are still here. We can check the interfaces again if you're like me and do everything trial and error. It kept everything we wanted, so let's be done with that. Now we need our storage. Let's go into how you want to adapt this. Since my hard drives come from an old FreeNAS server, I do not wish to create a new pool. If you're doing this for the first time or with new hard drives, you're gonna want to create a pool. I'm not, because I have mine. So what you're gonna want to do is go into storage. You go into pools. Here you can see I have no pools since it's just started. Basically, you're gonna click add, and now this is the difference. If you create a new pool, that's the option for if you have new drives or don't have a pool since before. I do, so I'm gonna click import an existing pool. Does the pool no? Continue with import. It's finding pools. It's going bathing. Guess it's gonna take a while. Here we go. It found a pool. This is my old pool. It's called Big Data. I used to have a small data as well. There, and go to next. Pool import. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's good. Import it. Let's import the pool. I think pools are made locally here in Sweden, so importing one seems very unnecessary. While you wait, of course, you can have your tea. You need to put lemon in the tea. Makes it better. Still importing the pool. Takes a while. Everything I do with this server takes time. I'm a very anxious person. I do not have time. I probably have time. I just don't like waiting. Of course, if you're doing this for the first time, you want to create the pool. I can't show you that now because I don't have any spare drives. But there's plenty of guides on YouTube, so just check them up. I'm gonna, yeah, there we go. Oh, that's not good. It says my the drives are online, but they are unhealthy. Oh, that's really not good at all. Yeah, okay, this is no good, of course. You got both of the drives are online. If we go into here and we go into, did I press? Oh, I pressed the wrong one. You go into status, you check. Both the drives are online. They're in a mirrored configuration. So the drives are, you know, they're still alive, but one of them is probably not good, or the rate could be bad. So what I am gonna have to do is probably replace them. They're kind of old. I've had them since like 2013. So, but that doesn't belong here. That's a future problem, future video opportunity, as we like to call it here on Try to Tinker. Instead, we're gonna continue with the next objective. The next objective is that we want to create a share, and there's different ways to do this. The share is the pathway for the server to be discovered, of course. You can create a Windows share. That's what most people would use, I guess. You can create an Apple share and different ones, depending. We have both Windows and Apple machines. I've never created an Apple share, but I'm going to try to do that now. So you click on Windows share, and you click on Add. Now this is the path to where you want people to find find what pool you want. We want the whole pool to go, so we're gonna click on it. Otherwise, you know, you can go down. You see here we have two different users since before, but I want the whole drive. And this is the difference here. If you only use Windows, you can just keep it at default. But since I am going to use Mac as well, I'm gonna try and choose multi-protocol AFB/SMB chairs. I've never tried this. And click on submit. We've created a service, but it's not online. If you want to do something before, you click cancel, the service will be saved, but you can click enable. Or I will click enable. You do as you wish. SMB service has been enabled. Yeah, that's good. Next thing is users. So you go into accounts, you go into users. See, we have our, oh yeah, we have the root user by default. We're gonna add a user. We're gonna call him, we can call him Emil. That's my name. Same username. You can use an email. I won't. The password you want to use, preferably another one than the root. Great. What TrueNAS will do as a default, it will create a new primary group for your user. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the one of the default groups, which is wheel. Wheel is the group that's defined as read and write. So I'm going to unbox this, change the primary group to wheel, and you can see down here that I have well, the group does not have write accessory. Well, that's logic, yeah, okay. That's good. What we're gonna do more is click on Microsoft account. What that will do is we will enable us to use our Windows credentials on logging into the share. That's convenient. If you feel well, click on submit. There we go. One last thing which we're gonna do is we're gonna change the permissions of the share, or the pool share, whatever you want to call it. So here you can see we're in the shell. The shell is directly connected to settings. You don't get a second chance here. So if you submit anything, it will go online right away. You will deploy the settings right away. So don't delete your shares here. It's bad. I'm not really that good at shell. I got this trick from a video by CraftComputing. I'm gonna put a link down there so you can see that. And I read up on it, and this is a really good thing. So just do it basically. The first command we're gonna do is cd/mount. I'm gonna put in ls to show our pool. We have a pool. We only have the big data pool installed, and we're gonna put in ls/al. No, just allow to show the permissions of the pool. You can see here the permissions of the pool. We want to change this. What this means is that everyone has read and write access right now. So if someone from another group connects, they will have read and write access. See what I mean? Because I don't. Here we go. This means that everyone has read and write access. We do not wish to do that. We want to change this so that everyone, so only the group or the user has read and write access. To do this, we put in CHMOD 770 and the name of the share, big data. Here we go. The difference is if you put like CHMOD 750, I think, then the user will have read and write access. The group will only have read access. The commands here are changed different depending on the code. I'm not a programmer, so I'm not good at this, but that's what it does. And what that means, maybe if you have other users which are gonna have connection to the server, and you want them to be able to like check documents and you know, view pictures, whatever, but you don't want them to be able to change, you can just change to a different one. There's actually generators online which you can use to see what commands you want to use. I can put a link to that as well. It's fun. There we go. But we are satisfied with this, so we are gonna go and click enter. I think I put this in wrong. Let's try and use this. Big data. No, I'm doing that wrong. I think this is correct. Let's try it. Here we go. There we can see. Yeah, the permissions are now changed. That is great. I hope they're right. So the last thing we are gonna want to do, we have our user, we have our chair, we have everything set up. We're back at this. You can see that in the dashboard we now have our share up and running as well, our pool, and it's unhealthy, which is not good. But it is. Is this the port to Narnia? So now what we're gonna want to do is mount this server so that we have access to it directly. You can see that's a dire need of mine since my Windows drive is full, because I put all of the photos and videos from these creations right there instead of my extra drive. I don't know why. Stop asking me. We go up here on, this is in Swedish, it says anslut nätverksenhet. That should be like connect to network drive or something like that, network unit maybe. Press that and you put in // name of your server, mine is Mooncake, then / again and the name of your share. It will now want our credentials, which I think is the user. Let's try. There we go. We're now attached to our drive and everything is ready to roll. What I will do now is back up all of my files, and the next video is probably going to be replacing the hard drives, which I cheaped out on buying new because I thought, well, god damn it. Thank you for watching this. Next time we will do something else.
So I just thought I'll do some reflections on the R210 server build, my storage server build called Mooncake. Yeah, I thought I'll do a little reflection on that, some reflection and conclusions we can call it. Because when I do these kind of builds in my head and in the documentation I do, I usually divide it into 3 steps. It's the theory and method, basically. How do I want to do it? What kind of materials do I want to do it in, or use components, or whatever I'm doing? This basically everything I do, I divide like this in my head. And I think about that for either 2 seconds and just do it, because sometimes I'm kind of impulsive, or I think about it for like 3 years and then I do it, like this YouTube thing that we finally got around to do, which is nice. Then it's the implementation and deployment, and that's basically when you build or you construct or you define, and then obviously deployment is when you put the things into production, when you put them into your environment, so to speak. And that's gonna be the first half of this video, and the last little bit was this, because I don't really have that many thoughts on this. It's not a complicated project building. Oh my god. It's not a complicated project building something like this, and that's really one of my reflections. TrueNAS as an OS is very simple to work with. If you're used to any kind of very basic server configuration or OS management, it will be a walk in the park. If you format it and reinstall your PC sometime, this will not be a problem. There's a lot of information in the OS and in the config that you can do. You don't need half of it to just run a backup server. It will be very simple, as you saw in my basic config, because I am by no means an expert in these kind of things. I watch a lot of videos just to know what I'm supposed to be doing. I think that really shows how easy it was to deploy this server, because they're always so easy to work with. Hardware-wise, yes, board, good. Hardware-wise, this was not hard to work with either. I didn't really have any problems at all with the server itself. The hard drive installation was very simple, 2 simple caddies, and the screws and everything is internally mounted. You just do it, it's very easy. The BIOS, of course, you can make it how advanced you want. You can do whatever you want in there, basically, but no, you can't. But you can do a lot of things. I didn't do a lot of things, as you saw, because I don't need it right now and I don't understand what I need it for. But if you do, you might do some other changes, which I didn't, and that's part of the learning curve. That's how you adapt, Hardware-wise, this was a very simple deployment, and I mean, if you buy another server, the experience could be totally different. Could be even easier if you have those, if you have like hotspot caddies. But yeah, no problem at all. And the OS implementation, the configuration, I mean, that's really one of the other strengths of TrueNAS, or formerly FreeNAS. There's such a big community around it, and in the past years, so many home users that documentation and forum posts and all of that makes it so easy, if you run into any trouble at all, to just Google it or watch a video of it. Someone has had a problem before. Very good. And quick run guides. I talked about the one from CraftComputing. I'm gonna link that in the video, because that's the best guide I found. I think it's thorough where it needs to be thorough, and what doesn't need to be. Some things do not need to be explained. You do not need to know them to be able to use them. So that's fine. I think that's one of the best ones, and that's why I highly recommend, if you want to do something like this. Again, this was the things I did wasn't a tutorial. It's more of a method, how I did it and how I learned it. And these kind of videos will help you more than help. God damn it, I'm rambling. Yeah, that's really it. Reflections and conclusions is the last step in my little thought process. And if you're not making a video about it and just do it, you can have it done in seriously an hour or tops 2. Because it really is that simple to get this kind of server environment going. Now, some things that didn't go as well as I had planned them to, and what probably should be a part of your think chain in this, is test your hardware, of course. As you saw in my video, one of my hard drives seemed to be defective. I haven't actually gotten on to checking that out yet, why the RAID pool is unhealthy, but it's probably a dying drive, I would guess. You should check that kind of things on beforehand, and I know you should. I want to get things done, so that's the first thing. Always check your hardware, check so everything works. Do a mem test on the server, do a temperature test. I didn't do any of that stuff. I bought it off a guy. He said it worked fine. Works for me, so I deployed it. Yeah, it's a home environment. It's not that crucial. If you're doing it as a small business or have really critical things on it, then of course you need to be more careful. But you know, yeah, I'm rambling again. Another thing which I thought about, which I should have done directly, is actually put in an SSD drive instead of the thumb drive. I've always used a thumb drive because I've had several iterations of TrueNAS servers before, running just like this, just putting them up just to have somewhere to put files. And I've used them on SSDs and on thumb drives, never had a problem. But you know, thumb drives is kind of they're not meant for these kind of applications to run 24/7 like this. So that's, if the next time I'm doing something like this, I'm putting an SSD in there right away, just because they're so cheap. Doesn't matter. Doesn't, of course, money is money, but they're so cheap. If you're building something like this, you shouldn't cheap out on that kind of thing. And I didn't. I was just lazy. It's a common theme in my videos, you will know. So that's basically that's it. The server is up and running. There's going to be a follow-up on how I will handle the unhealthy pool. I actually ordered a new iDRAC for it, of course. I think I said this in one of the clips. The iDRAC Enterprise version, iDRAC 6 for the R210. And in this same video I will put in an SSD drive as well. So that's the two upgrades I have running, is putting in the SSD and a new iDRAC, and of course mending the bad pool. I think this will be two separate videos because the pool really needs to be looked over in the near future, and I have a plan for that. So that's it. Thank you for watching. And oh, remember, put lemon in your tea. Is that gonna be my thing now? That I put lemon in my tea? That's not even that uncommon.